His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa met at Qudaybiya Palace with the Saudi Minister of Sports and President of the Saudi Olympic and Paralympic Committee, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki bin Faisal Al Saud, and heads of delegations participating in the Global Youth Support Initiative Hope Network, launched and hosted by Bahrain. His Royal Highness affirmed that under the leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Bahrain is committed to empowering Bahraini youth across various fields. He noted that Bahrain's commitment to implement initiatives that foster the creativity and innovation of Bahraini youth reflects the kingdom's belief that empowering youth is a shared international responsibility through which efforts transcend borders, civilizations, and cultures. His Royal Highness affirmed that the capabilities of youth represent half of the present and the entirety of the future, highlighting that investing in Bahrain's youth is an investment in the nation's future, noting the importance of instilling hope and building skills for a brighter tomorrow. His Royal Highness noted that youth empowerment initiatives are central to the government's agenda, creating a comprehensive support system that unites efforts to inspire and instill hope in young people. These initiatives also promote the exchange of best practices, experiences, and innovative ideas, accelerating progress and development across sectors. His Royal Highness welcomed the delegation and extended his best wishes for the success of the Hope Network, highlighting the value of strategic global cooperation to enhance the competitiveness of youth across various fields, which is a shared international responsibility. He highlighted that the initiatives of the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, reflect Bahrain's ongoing commitment to empowering and supporting young people to overcome challenges, reflecting the role played by His Highness in advancing the youth and sports sector. His Royal Highness acknowledged the support of the First Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, for programs that aim to drive youth development in line with national aspirations. During the meeting, topics of common interest were reviewed, focusing on initiatives that support and empower youth and explore promising opportunities for youth development regionally and internationally. For their part, the heads of delegations expressed their thanks for His Royal Highness's commitment to youth initiatives, wishing the kingdom further development and progress under the leadership of His Majesty the King. His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad, and a number of senior officials also attended the meeting. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa met with the Executive Chairman of Investcorp Mohammed bin Mahfoud Al Ardi at Qudaybiya Palace. His Royal Highness highlighted the importance of the kingdom's banking and financial sectors in advancing various development pathways and contributing to the kingdom's comprehensive development goals led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Royal Highness affirmed the Kingdom's commitment to enhancing its competitiveness as a hub for attracting investments that will benefit citizens. He emphasized the crucial role of financial and banking institutions in supporting various economic sectors and creating job opportunities for citizens. His Royal Highness stressed the importance of enhancing the government services sector through creativity, innovation, modern technology, and artificial intelligence to boost the sector's competitiveness and fulfill the Kingdom's aspirations. For his part, Al-Ardi expressed his gratitude for the opportunity to meet with His Royal Highness, acknowledging His Royal Highness's commitment to advancing the banking and financial sector through the latest technologies and enhancing Bahrain's investment environment. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, also attended the meeting. The representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, the SCYS, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, celebrated youth leaders participating in the activities of the Global Network Supporting Youth Competitiveness Hope Network, in which 29 ministers, government officials, representatives of the UN and organizations supporting youth are participating. The celebration was held in the presence of the First Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Vice President of the Supreme Council for the Environment, Deputy Chairman of the Rashid Equestrian and Horse Racing Club High Committee, and member of the SCYS, His Highness Sheikh Faisal bin Rashid bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Secretary General of the SCYS, Ayman Al-Muayyad, and the Minister of Youth Affairs, Rawan Tawfiqi. His Highness affirmed that Bahrain always seeks to launch global initiatives that contribute to forming a close bloc between countries, enhancing the role of youth in achieving tangible progress in various sectors, and providing youth with an ideal opportunity to be future leaders. His Highness pointed out that the Hope Network is in line with the vision of His Majesty the King in maximizing Bahrain's role at the international level in various aspects, including the youth, by launching initiatives and programs that focus on investing in the energies of youth, which was translated by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister through the emphasis on the importance of empowering youth and giving them the opportunity to participate in the development process. His Highness added that Bahrain has charted a pioneering path for the Hope Network and set specific goals for it by raising international awareness about the importance of planting hope and combining efforts to achieve the aspirations of youth. He added that the network will create a global environment that embraces and supports youth, noting that the signing of the Hope Charter by the participants stems from their keenness to unify efforts among member states to advance the youth sector. The Representatives Council held its weekly session presided over by its Speaker Ahmed Al-Musallam. The session discussed and approved a draft law amending Article 14 of Decree Law 21 of 2015 on private healthcare establishments and a draft law amending Article 4 of Law 57 of 2006 on establishing the Labour Fund. The Council also approved a legislative proposal on the Bahrain Chamber for the settlement of economic, financial and investment disputes and 5 proposals which were submitted to the government, the most important of which the obligation of the University of Bahrain and private universities to employ Bahrainis with higher degrees within the teaching staff with a minimum of 70%. The Chairman of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, the SCIA, Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa, participated in the World Summit for Religious Leaders for Climate in Azerbaijan, with the participation of more than 300 prominent international religious leaders. The Chairman emphasized the role of religious religions in supporting global efforts to address environmental challenges, particularly climate change, by promoting human values that urge the preservation and protection of the environment. He added that this role stems from religious and spiritual teachings that consider the earth and the environment as a trust that should be preserved for a better life for future generations and humanity as a whole. He said that solidarity between religions can contribute to spreading global environmental awareness and unifying efforts to address threats. The chairman added that this summit is a qualitative forum for the exchange of ideas and experiences and an important initiative to engage religious leaders in advocating climate issues. Under the patronage of the first Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Education Curricula Training for Persons with Disabilities Conference, Effective Strategies and Practices was launched, organized by Bahrain Down Syndrome Society, with the participation of a number of specialists and those with scientific and practical experience in the field. The conference included many scientific and discussion sessions on the challenges and difficulties facing those working in education and training for people with disabilities, especially Down syndrome, with scientific experts and specialized doctors presenting their experiences and expertise. A number of associations and medical and educational centers participated in the conference and the accompanying exhibition. The Minister of Social Development, Assam Al-Asfour, received the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports of Brunei, Dato Haji, on the occasion of his official visit to Bahrain to participate in the Hope Network Global Youth Competitiveness Initiative. The minister highlighted the strong ties between Bahrain and Brunei and expressed his aspiration to enhance cooperation in social development. The meeting discussed mutual interests and exchanged practices on social protection and community care systems. The minister praised Bahrain's efforts in supporting all societal groups, noting that his visit aims to strengthen cooperation and enrich development exchange between the two countries. The Minister of Housing and Urban Planning, Amna Ramehi, headed Bahrain's delegation participating in the opening of the 12th World Urban Forum. The forum is hosted by Egypt in cooperation with the UN Human Settlements Program, and it is held under the theme, It All Starts at Home, Local Actions for Sustainable Cities and Communities. Ramehi stated that participating in the forum is an opportunity to highlight the gains and achievements made in the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King. The forum focuses on urban development, promoting sustainable urbanization through partnerships between stakeholders and citizens. On the sidelines of the same forum, Minister Ramehi held a bilateral meeting with the Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation of Egypt, Dr. Rani Al-Mashat. They reviewed means of joint cooperation in the fields of planning, urban development and housing services, and exchanged expertise with the aim of enhancing plans and programs in the field of housing, planning and urban development, and discussed a number of topics related to the efforts to implement the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals in light of the discussions of the forum sessions. In the presence of the Minister of Information, Dr. Ramzan bin Abdullah Naimi, the Chairman of the National Council for Arts, Sheikh Rashid bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, inaugurated the personal art exhibition 50 Years of Art and Peace by Abbas Al Musawi at the Art Center of the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities, and a number of Bahraini artists and art enthusiasts. The art exhibition showcases influential moments in the artist's life, starting from his upbringing through his passion for the sea and harbor and his influence on the heritage environment of the old markets of Bahrain, to his contemporary works that express his close connection to Bahraini heritage and nature. With the participation of the Minister of Education, Dr. Muhammad bin Mubarak Jum'ah, the Ministry of Education organized various activities to commemorate the Tree Week in the presence of officials, employees and students by planting more trees in green spaces and school gardens. This comes in support of the initiatives of the National Action Plan to achieve carbon neutrality announced by His Majesty the King, and in the framework of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister's launch of the Tree Week initiative in the 3rd week of October every year. The ministry attaches great importance to spreading the culture of afforestation, increasing green spaces and preserving the environment in educational institutions through several initiatives and procedures. The Undersecretary of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Iman al-Dosari, participated in the opening of the 40th session of the Standing Committee for Economic and Commercial Cooperation of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, COMSEC, held on November 4th to the 5th in Turkey, in the presence of the President of Turkey and Chairman of COMSEC, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Dosari highlighted the kingdom's experience in digital transformation and e-payments. She also noted the importance of cooperation among member countries to achieve sustainable development and economic prosperity in the Islamic world. The second edition of the Gateway Gulf Forum has successfully concluded with more than $12 billion worth of announcements and transactions. The forum was widely acclaimed, bringing together around 250 government officials and business representatives from around the world. More in this report. The second edition of the Gateway Gulf Forum received widespread praise, which reflects its success in attracting business leaders from different countries of the world. The economic event and the positive results achieved are a mirror of the rich future enjoyed by the Kingdom of Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, towards diversifying the economy and attracting quality investments to achieve sustainable development, which also confirms the Kingdom of Bahrain's continued reliance on promising non-oil sectors. The second edition of the forum received feedback praising the Kingdom's position as an attractive environment for investment and an advanced financial and technological center, with participants praising the discussions that address strategic issues related to sustainable economic development and advanced technology. Positive feedback included praise for economic diversification initiatives, such as the sustainable real estate projects that were announced, the launch of new digital banking services, and announcements of strategic partnerships, such as those in sustainable aluminum sector. 32 announcements and transactions reflecting Bahrain's leadership in digital transformation, finance, manufacturing, tourism, and other high-value sectors were unveiled during the two-day forum. On the sidelines of the Gateway Gulf Forum 2024, the Nationality Passports and Residence Affairs issued more than 10,000 golden residencies to beneficiaries from 99 countries. The Undersecretary for Nationality, Passports and Residence Affairs, Sheikh Hisham bin Abdul Rahman Al Khalifa, explained that the instructions of the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, contributed to enhancing the investment environment in several fields and supporting the national economy in accordance with the aspirations of Bahrain Economic Vision 2030, in addition to improving the digital transformation in residency services. He added that the golden residency is granted to employees or retirees who have resided in Bahrain for more than 5 consecutive years and whose average monthly salary is 2,000 BD or more during that period. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning has announced the launch of a project to develop residential units and apartments in Madinat Khalifa with a total of up to 3,000 housing units and apartments. This initiative is part of the government land rights program in partnership with the private sector. This announcement is part of the investment opportunities put forth during the second edition of the Gateway Gulf Forum. The ministry highlighted that Madinat Khalifa offers promising opportunities for real estate development companies to develop residential units and apartments along with infrastructure services covering an area of up to 1.6 million square meters. It added that Madinat Khalifa is one of the strategic projects targeted by the Government Land Development Rights Program, through which the ministry seeks to fulfill a large number of housing requests for those wishing to benefit from financing options.